Good morning, everyone. Hope you are staying safe, healthy, and happy during these unusual times. For those of you who are new to senior school, I am Naveen Tom. I teach economics and TOK, and I am one of the deputy principal. Over the last few weeks, I have been researching and contemplating for a good topic for today's assembly. As I did my mini research, there were a lot of topics that came around, extremely positive to talk to you. However, I decided to focus on failures today. Yes, you heard it right, failures. You might be wondering why Mr. Naveen Tom chose a topic which has got a lot of negativity attached to it, when you could talk about topics which are extremely positive. For instance, say success, confidence, team building, etc. But wait, give a real deep thought about failure. Is it really negative? For that matter, isn't it one phenomenon or one emotion which all of us at some point in our life has gone through not just once but multiple number of times? And moreover, do you really know how to deal with failures? Of course, there is a disclaimer coming from me. I am not talking about failures wherein you did not give your best or perform to your potential. For example, you wasted the entire study holidays playing cricket, watching TV, chatting with your friends, sleeping, and then when the marks came, you failed. No, this is not the failure I am talking about. In contrast, you gave your best, studied really hard, but when the marks came, it did not match your expectation. You played your heart out for your school football team, but yet you got thrashed out by your opponents. End of the world? Definitely not. Listen to me very carefully. You must not let success get to your head. At the same time, you should not allow failure to consume your heart. Know that sometimes, actually most times, things don't go as planned, and that is perfectly fine. For many young people, it's easy to simply give up when things don't work out. But never give up, because the reality is you're going to fail a lot. Failure doesn't mean your idea wasn't valid or that your dream isn't good enough. Failure simply means there is something to be learned or another direction to be taken. Please watch and listen to J.K. Rowling's commencement speech, which was given by her during the 2011 Harvard graduation ceremony.
What I feared most for myself at your age was not poverty, but failure. At your age, in spite of a distinct lack of motivation at university, where I had spent far too long in the coffee bar writing stories and far too little time at lectures, I had a knack for passing examinations, and that, for years, had been the measure of success in my life and that of my peers. Now, I am not dull enough to suppose that because you are young, gifted, and well-educated, you have never known heartbreak, hardship, or heartache. Talent and intelligence never yet inoculated anyone against the caprice of the fates, and I do not for a moment suppose that everyone here has enjoyed an existence of unruffled privilege and contentment. However, the fact that you are graduating from Harvard suggests that you are not very well acquainted with failure. You might be driven by a fear of failure quite as much as a desire for success. Indeed, your conception of failure might not be too far removed from the average person's idea of success. So high have you already flown. Ultimately, we all have to decide for ourselves what constitutes failure. But the world is quite eager to give you a set of criteria if you let it. So I think it fair to say that by any conventional measure, a mere 7 years after my graduation day, I had failed on an epic scale. An exceptionally short-lived marriage had imploded, and I was jobless, a lone parent, and as poor as it is possible to be in modern Britain without being homeless. The fears that my parents had had for me and that I had had for myself had both come to pass, and by every usual standard, I was the biggest failure I knew. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that failure is fun. That period of my life was a dark one, and I had no idea that there was going to be what the press has since represented as a kind of fairy tale resolution. I had no idea then how far the tunnel extended, and for a long time, any light at the end of it was a hope rather than a reality. So why do I talk about the benefits of failure? Simply because failure meant a stripping away of the inessential. I stopped pretending to myself that I was anything other than what I was, and began to direct all my energy into finishing the only work that mattered to me. Had I really succeeded at anything else, I might never have found the determination to succeed in the one arena where I believed I truly belonged. I was set free because my greatest fear had been realized, and I was still alive, and I still had a daughter whom I adored, and I had an old typewriter and a big idea. And so rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. You might never fail on the scale I did, but some failure in life is inevitable. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default. Failure gave me an inner security that I had never attained by passing examinations. Failure taught me things about myself that I could have learned no other way. I discovered that I had a strong will and more discipline than I had suspected. I also found out that I had friends whose value was truly above the price of rubies. The knowledge that you have emerged wiser and stronger from setbacks means that you are, ever after, secure in your ability to survive. You will never truly know yourself or the strength of your relationships until both have been tested by adversity. Such knowledge is a true gift for all that it is painfully won, and it has been worth more than any qualification I ever earned. So given a time turner, I would tell my 21-year-old self that personal happiness lies in knowing that life is not a checklist of acquisition or achievement. Your qualifications, your CV, are not your life, though you will meet many people of my age and older who confuse the two. Life is difficult and complicated and beyond anyone's total control, and the humility to know that will enable you to survive its vicissitudes.
Hope you all like the video. To add to J.K. Rowling, here are 3 reasons why failure is good. Failure is a redirection. It shows you where you shouldn't be. Number 2, failure is an opportunity. It's a chance to reevaluate and come back stronger with better reasoning. Number 3, failure is not fatal. Failure simply means you get another shot. So go try again. If you are currently failing at something you love, let these inspirational stories from the most successful people on the planet inspire you to keep going. Up first, we have Michael Jordan, one of the all-time greatest athlete the world have ever seen, my all-time role model. I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. 26 times I have been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Look at Jordan's career. He is a 6-time NBA champion and was a 14-time All-Starter. He was named as one of the greatest 50 players in the NBA history. And yet, it's easy to see that he hasn't forgotten those missed shots and losses. In fact, he contributes those failures as the reason why he is now a success. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah was born into working class poverty. She was the daughter of a teenage low-income mother. Even after she secured a job in journalism, things weren't always easy. One of her first jobs in TV ended abruptly after the producer declared she was unfit for television. In 2011, Oprah was the best paid female in the entertainment industry. According to the Forbes magazine, she remains the richest self-made woman and the only black female billionaire. Steven Spielberg. Regarded as one of the most influential filmmakers of all time, Steven Spielberg is a household name. It is surprising to realize, therefore, that the genius behind Jurassic Park and E.T. had poor grades in high school, getting him rejected from the University of Southern California 3 times. Albert Einstein. The word Einstein is associated with intelligence and synonymous with genius. Yet, it is a famous fact that the pioneer of the theory of relativity could not speak fluently until the age of 9. His rebellious nature led to the expulsion from school, and he was refused admittance to the famous Zurich Polytechnical School. His earlier setbacks did not stop him from winning the Nobel Prize in Physics. After all, he believed that success is failure in progress. Harlan David Sanders. It wasn't under the age of 62 that Sanders, with a $105 social security check in hand, pitched his chicken recipe to restaurants. According to reports, 1,009 restaurants rejected him. Instead of giving up, he hit the road and began trying to sell his franchisee model chicken restaurant, eventually finding success with a restaurant outside of Utah. It became the first KFC outlet. Walt Disney. Mickey Mouse creator Walt Disney dropped out of school at a young age in a failed attempt at joining the army. One of his earlier ventures, Laugh-O-Gram Studios, went bankrupt due to his lack of ability to run a successful business. He was once fired from a Missouri newspaper for not being creative enough. To conclude, it's rare that even successful people have a smooth run. Obstacles are out there, but they are meant to be overcome. No adventure worth undertaking is easy. Everyone who achieves success faces failure. What makes or breaks a person is how they react to these failures and what they do or do not do to overcome these setbacks. Perhaps these famous failures have inspired you to take control of your failures. Thank you and have a good day.